Madison woke to strong, warm hands on her bare legs, and bright amber eyes in the dark. Levi kissed her slowly, asking if it was okay. Then another set of hands began exploring her body. Unless she was going insane. There were 4 hands on her, who else was there? Madison stood in the hall of her dorm, listening to the sound of people fucking. She put her ear against the door, and heard the slap of skin, a woman moaning, a man grunting. Not just any man, it was definitely her boyfriend Daniel. Madison tried the handle, it was unlocked. She pushed the door open and peered inside to find her boyfriend happily exploring another woman's body. Specifically, Joanna's body. Joanna, who'd sworn Madison was her closest friend. But instead of anger or jealousy, Madison felt a strange sense of calm, as she pushed the door all the way open. Daniel and Joanna both snapped their gazes to her. Daniel's stupid mouth hung open, gaping like a fish. Joanna just looked pissed. "Well," Madison said, "thanks for making this easy for me, Daniel. We're done." She turned to leave, and although she could hear him scrambling after her, she didn't stop. "Wait." Daniel grabbed her wrist, and she turned, trying to yank herself away from him. He was half naked, with a blanket around his waist. His hands were damp. Probably Joanna's sweat. "Let go of me," Madison snapped. Her so-called friend was sitting on the bed, covering herself with a pillow. She didn't even look sorry. "If you'll just talk to me," Daniel said. "I never want to talk to you again, Daniel. Now let go of me." His grip tightened, a manic look in his eyes, and Madison winced in pain. "Let her go," said a booming voice. "Or we'll make sure you can never use that hand again," another voice said. Daniel let go immediately, his jaw dropping as he stared at the people who'd spoken. Madison would recognize those husky voices anywhere. She turned to look at the Thompson twins. Her brothers were too busy to come pick her up, so they'd sent their best friends, the twins. They'd always been good-looking boys, but in the years since Madison had seen them, they'd become handsome men. Both 6 feet, 3 inches of God's finest work. Shoulders so wide that their clothes couldn't hide their defined muscles. Ethan had a beard now, something she'd never seen on him before. It defined his strong jaw and gave him a dangerous, sexy look. Levi was still clean-shaven, with a strong chin. They stood shoulder to shoulder with their arms crossed, both wearing a dark expression. They teased her all the time growing up, but any time she'd been in trouble, they were there, just like now. She realized she'd missed their protective stare. Madison turned back to Daniel. He looked appropriately terrified. Daniel raised his hand in surrender and said, "I just want to talk to you, Madison." He shot a scared glance at the 2 twins. "Alone? I don't think there's much to talk about. You cheated." Her eyes slowly moved to Joanna as she spoke, still stone cold. "I guess you were tired of waiting. Why work hard for something if you can get it the easy way?" Joanna shot her a dirty look, and her mouth opened slightly, like she wanted to say something snide, but the words caught in her throat. Instead, she pulled on her hoodie, and practically ran down the hall. Madison turned back to Daniel and continued, "And, if we're telling truths, if you're no better at sex than you are at foreplay, I don't think I've missed much." Ethan let out a low whistle. "Damn, Madison." Levi burst out laughing. "Yeah, I think Daniel's ego just shriveled up to the size of his dick." Daniel scowled, pulling the blanket tighter around himself, face growing red as he started to shout, "You know what? You're such a bitch. That's why I did it, because you're always acting like you're better than everyone." The twins stepped past her and got in Daniel's face. "Say it again," Ethan growled, his green eyes locked on Daniel's. Levi tilted his head with a dangerous smile. "Please. I dare you." Daniel shrank back instinctively, clutching the blanket. Madison couldn't help the tiny, vindicated smirk tugging at her lips. "Anything else we need to do here, Madison?" Levi asked. Both twins looked back at her, their faces full of raw loyalty. There was no doubt in her mind. They'd beat Daniel to a pulp if she wanted. She didn't want that. No need for violence, but that power stirred something low and aching in her belly. She cleared her throat and forced a cool expression. "I am good. Let us get out of here, Levi raised his eyebrow at Daniel and muttered, "Little tip for next time, Romeo. If you're going to cheat, at least lock the damn door. Like this." As Levi reached inside the door and flipped the lock on the handle, Ethan snatched away Daniel's blanket and tossed it into the room. "No, my clothes," Daniel shouted as Levi slammed the door shut. Daniel yanked at the doorknob to no avail. "Whoops," Levi said with a laugh. Daniel stood frozen in the hallway, completely naked, trying to cover himself with his hands. A group of girls spilled out of a room down the hall, chatting until they caught sight of Daniel. They let out a collective gasp followed by a burst of giggles. Daniel's face turned beet red as he spun on his heel, putting one hand on his dick and one on his ass as he sprinted barefoot down the hallway like a man fleeing a crime scene. Levi and Ethan turned slowly, wearing matching grins. Madison hooked her arms through theirs, walking between them with a quiet satisfaction. As soon as they got into the elevator with the last of her boxes, they both turned and looked at her, grinning. "So," Ethan started. Levi finished. "You two never had sex." "That's none of your business," she said. Levi nodded and said, "That means no." "Oh, please," she said with an eye roll. Though they were right. She'd planned to lose her virginity this summer with Daniel. That was shot now, of course. But maybe she could still lose it. Not with someone who lied to her, but with someone who made her feel wanted and safe. Maybe with one of the twins. But which one? Ethan, with those intense green eyes and cocky smile that lingered too long on her lips. Or Levi, with his soft, dimpled grin and the quiet way he always seemed to notice when something was wrong. She didn't know yet. But just the thought of it thrilled her. The twins drove her home and helped her unload her stuff. "Sure you don't want to come out with us tonight?" Ethan asked. "We're meeting up with your brothers." "No, I'm going to unpack and savor being home. Tell my brothers to be quiet when they get in." "We're glad you're back," Levi said as he stepped forward and wrapped his arms around her. The embrace was firm but familiar. Madison was hit with a wave of nostalgia and comfort. Levi smelled clean and woodsy. Just as he stepped back, Ethan took his place, folding her into his arms. His hug was tighter, more grounding. She could feel the strength in his arms. Ethan smelled like spicy mint. Madison tried to hide the way her heart fluttered at their touch. The twins had tormented her growing up, but despite that, or maybe because of it, she'd always had a hopeless crush on them. She went up to her room and flopped down on her bed. She wanted to unpack, but the exhaustion of moving and the Daniel thing made her pass out almost immediately. She woke up later to strong, warm hands on her bare legs. She shivered under her fluffy comforter, and when her eyes fluttered open, she was staring into bright amber eyes. "Levi." She blinked a couple of times and tried to get into a better position to look at him. She tried to speak, but the moment her lips parted, his lips were on hers. The feeling of his kiss was overwhelming. "Is this okay?" Levi whispered. "Yes." "More please," Madison said with a little moan. Levi explored her mouth, slipping his tongue between her lips and savoring her slowly and carefully. His hand strayed to her face, cupping her cheek. The deliberate slowness of his tongue tangling with hers built the passion between them, until it was almost unbearable. How could this closeness feel so good? And why, all of a sudden, did she feel so hot? As those thoughts invaded her mind, she could have sworn another set of hands began exploring her body. Unless she was going insane, there were now 4 hands on her. Forcing herself to break the kiss, she pulled away and opened her eyes, searching the darkness for the owner of the other 2 hands. The sight in front of her made her whimper.